Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we're going to create and add custom linked buttons to listings. A request came in from a client here recently. I'm going to go ahead and read that request off for you here. Ryan, my users have links to external websites where they sell their books. The links are long and ugly, and I need a better way to display them. Buttons would be ideal. So we're going to go ahead and tackle this request live here together. And we're going to follow along with this guide that you see up on my screen. You can get your hands on this guide from the MyListing Club website. Okay, following along with the guide, the very first thing we're going to do here is create the button. I'm also going to remove myself from the screen just so there's no distractions. In this example, I'll show you how to use MyListing's button shortcode generator to add a button for an external website like a book listed on Amazon. We will then drop those buttons into a block within the single listings to showcase all of the places where the author sells their books. All right. So to start, we go to Theme Tools and Shortcodes. And MyListing defaults to the button shortcode generator. So we're already where we need to be there. And the first thing we need to do is in the content area here, we need to add the text that will appear on the button. So I'm just going to type in the word Amazon. All right, that's it as far as creating the button. At this point, we are going to go with the default settings for the rest, knowing you can always come back to the button shortcode generator to adjust things like the style, the size, etc. Let's keep the current screen tab open in your browser so we can reference it here shortly. So we're going to keep this tab open. I'm just going to duplicate this tab. And now we're going to work on adding the button. All right, so from the WordPress dashboard, we're going to go to listing types. And we're going to click on the desired listing type to edit it. I'm going to edit the coach one for this video. The next thing we're going to do is go to listing type fields and create a custom field. To start, we're going to create a heading field. So we're going to scroll down here to the form heading. Clicking on that drops that into our single listing. We're going to then click into that custom field and we're going to give it a label. I'm going to call this Where My Books Are Sold. Okay, we're going to leave the key as it is. The description, this is optional. If you want to give some instructions to your listing owners on, what this field is about, what the section of the add listing form is about, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. You can also add an image if you want to do that as well to help either advertise that what you're offering here or whatever. Use your imagination there. I'm going to change this icon to be a book. All right. Show in listing comparison pop-up. I want to toggle this off because in my opinion, this is not a vital thing when you're comparing, like, let's say you're comparing two author listings side by side. Where they sell their books specifically is not a differentiating factor, in my opinion. It's not a super critical piece of knowledge. So I would not include this information in the listing comparison pop-up. If you're familiar with what that is, it's just going to clutter up that modal, that pop-up, and interfere with the actual vital information. So long way of saying I would toggle this off. Okay, next up here is package visibility. So by default, if we do not toggle this on, all of your packages are going to be able to see this heading, this field. Okay, if you want to monetize, you could toggle this on, enable package visibility, and then choose the packages that are able to see this field. Okay, so we're going to add another field here for the actual URL for the button. And it's just important to keep in mind that if you're going to enable package visibility, just think about the other fields that you're adding within this section, which we're about to do, and make sure it's desirable in that when you're grouping these things together, that you're not hiding the heading, for example, because they didn't purchase a certain package, but you're showing the fields. That would just be a really, really bad look. So you just want to make sure that you're consistent in what you're trying to get out of your package visibility, if that is what, in fact, you want to do. So I'm going to leave this off for now. Okay. So next up, we're going to click on the URL custom field. Drop that in. For this one right here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a label of Amazon for this one. Here, let me get to my guide here and make sure. Where's I at? Yeah, here we go. So Amazon is going to be for this label. We're going to leave the key there. Placeholder, you could put something like https amazon.com and then dash. I'm not familiar with what the link would be for an author on Amazon. Maybe they have, I'm guessing they have like a storefront, each author does. So let's just pretend. So amazon.com, author page, whatever. But you could put this in as a placeholder so it gives them a clue of what URL that they need to type in here. All right, I'm just going to leave this for now at amazon.com. Okay, and there's a description area, again, optional if you want to give them some information, some helpful tips about filling in this field. Okay, we're going to leave it not required. We're going to keep it in the submit form. We're going to allow it to be editable by the admin in the back end. We're going to turn off listing comparison for the reasons I already stated for the previous field. And again, if you want to upsell people to be able to see this field, just be consistent with what you do here and here. Okay. Now, when I say consistent, I'm also going to say another thing. Let's say that you want everyone to be able to see this heading. And let's say with Amazon, you want everybody to be able to see the Amazon button here, right? But let's just say you wanted to drop in another button, and we'll call this Goodreads. So this is another resource where authors can sell their books. And this one, like, what if we wanted to say, I want to show everybody the heading where my books are sold. I want to show everybody the Amazon button. But with Goodreads, I want to say, hey, you need to purchase a paid package to be able to get access to additional places to list your books for sale. Okay, so you can just keep adding these URLs in here and whatever, and then upsell them if you want. Okay, totally up to you what you want to do there. I'm going to just leave Amazon and Goodreads in here for now. And I'm going to turn off package visibility for all of these. Let me make sure that's off. Okay, that is off. All right, so we've got Goodreads in there. We're not going to show it in the comparison pop-up. And we should be good to go there. You can put a placeholder in here as well. Goodreads.com. Okay, so we've got that done. Now we need to display this on the front end, okay? So we're going to go over to our single page, content and tabs. We're going to go ahead and choose to display this in the details tab. All right. Next up, we need to drop in the details block. Clicking on that drops it in there. Now we need to click on that details block to start editing it. Okay. For the label, we need to match the heading of our section of our form. So let's go back. The section of this heading, the heading of this section is where my books are sold. Okay, I'm just going to copy that for now. So we need to duplicate that to show it on the front end. Okay, so I'm going to give it a label, where my books are sold. I'm going to change the block icon here. I'm going to match that book icon that I did in the actual form. So we're going to drop that in. Okay, next step we're going to do, we need to add the actual links to those websites, to those fields, the Goodreads and the Amazon, okay? So we're going to click Add Row. We're going to click into that row to edit it. We don't want to put any icon on there. And we're going to put, for the content, we're going to put two brackets that lean, two left brackets. And what this does with MyListing is it dynamically pulls in the data from that field. So what we're doing right now is we are referencing these fields. So I'm just going to start typing in Amazon. There we go. So that gives us that button, that link, that field, that attachment to that field here. So let's go back. We're now linking to this Amazon field, and that the word Amazon is pulling from this key right here. Okay, that's what that key is for. Okay, so we've got our key in there. The next thing we want to do, we want to actually go back to the shortcode tab, and we need to put the button. So this right here would just pull in the information in, but it wouldn't actually, the link, but it wouldn't actually pull the button. So we got to go back to our shortcodes, and we're just going to grab this code that's generated here, go back to our listing type, we're actually going to drop this in and replace that Amazon. I just wanted to show you those, that bracket if you weren't using a button. So, okay. So what we need to do is we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to replace the hashtag, which is just a placeholder for a link. We're going to replace that with that same Amazon bracketed Amazon text. So 2 left brackets, type the word Amazon. There we go. Now, a really important thing here is MyListing is going to drop a space in there. You can see it right here on my screen. There's a little space between the far right bracket and then the quotes. You want to take that out. Otherwise, you're going to have a broken URL. All right. So there we go. So now we've injected a button with a link that's going to pull from the Amazon field, whatever that URL that the listing owner puts in the Amazon field is going to automatically populate on the front end by what we just did. The button is not animated. We're just going with the default shortcode settings there. Amazon right here, that's again coming from the button generator. That's just the label that's on the button. Okay. We're going to go ahead and click into add row here. I'm going to copy this here. We're going to add another row, and this is going to be for the Goodreads. Okay. Let's drop this in. And now I'm going to change Amazon to be that Goodreads. So Goodreads. Again, take out our space so we don't have that broken link. Change the text here for the button to be Goodreads. Now I could have gone back to the button generator again and did this, but we already know what that output code, the code looks like when it's output. So I'm just dropping that in right here. Okay. So that takes care of our block title, which is where my books are sold. We're going to inject an Amazon button and a Goodreads button in there. And another trick here, I'm going to show you here before we do the trick. So I'm going to update this. We're going to go look at a listing here. Again, we're going to do this for the coaches. So let me just pick a coach. We're going to edit the listing from the back end just for speed, to shorten up this video and not keep you here super long. Okay. I've got the placeholder in here that we're giving the listing owner some helpful text of what they need to put in here. So let's just go ahead and put in Amazon.com. And let's put in Goodreads.com here. Okay, so we've got those in there, and let's hit update. Let's view the listing on the front end. Okay, remember we dropped it right here into the details tab. So if we scroll down, there we go. We see our 2 buttons are in there. We've got our little block heading in there, but we do not want these icons to appear. This is a bug with MyListing, and I actually requested this as a feature request / bug report, that there shouldn't be buttons in here if we didn't specify them. So in the guide, I give you some code to make that go away. So to do that, we need to go back to our listing type, single page, content and tabs. Just go back and find that block. And in here, I'm just going to put sell books as the block class, okay? I'm going to save that. I'm going to go to wherever it is that I manage my code snippets, which is WP Codebox. And I want to put this in my single listing. What I'm targeting is in the single listing. So I want to make sure I'm editing that CSS, right? I'm just going to drop, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to drop this right in here at the top. So what we're saying here is we want to hide the block row icons. We want to target the cell blocks CSS class. You saw me enter that into the block. That's the class I entered, cell blocks. We're then saying I want to hide the icons. So this is the referencing the icons, and we're saying display none. Do not show those icons. So let's save that. Let's go back to our listing and refresh. Okay, so that gets our icons out of there. I still don't like this stacked look, so I want to do a bit more. I want to put these side by side, right? So I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab the code from the guide, and I'm going to drop the CSS in here again. Here we are targeting the cell books class, and we're saying these individual items, I wanted to display them inline block. Okay, so in a long way of saying, side by side. Okay, there we go. You can take this a step further now. It's just CSS at this point. Inspect it. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Put a border radius on there. Border radius 25 pixels. I think I'm probably targeting the wrong thing. Let me find out. Yeah, I'm targeting the wrong thing here. So somewhere in here, I think it's button 4 you have to target. Let's just try that. There you go. So that changed that. That's just a quick and dirty way to do that. You may not want to add that border radius to all of your buttons that have the button 1 style. You see this on my screen. .button-1 means MyListing's default button style. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. Okay, I'm going to actually go back here to show you the shortcodes here. I'm going to show you one thing. So you see the style here. By default, MyListing buttons default to a style of 1 when you generate them with the generator here. Okay, you won't see style 1 listed in here by default. If I change this to a style of 2, you're going to see it drop right there. Okay, so now even if you go back to 1, it's going to keep that in there. So whatever. I'm going to change this to a 4. So you see that 4 being in there. I don't need to copy this code. I already know what to do. So I'm going to go back into my listing type. I'm going to go back into the field, or sorry, the single page content and tabs. I'm going to go into the block. And I want to say that my style of my button equals 4. I need to change, sorry about that. I need to change how my cursor, what color it changes. That's way too bright. I kind of hide stuff. So apologies there. I will fix that for the next video. Okay, so we've got our style 4 in there. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. There we go. So that's a better look in my opinion right off the bat. And again, you can add the border radius and things like that. All right, let's continue styling these up just a bit. We've done the side-by-side button alignment. Now, another thing you can do is you can add icons. So let's go back to the shortcode generator here. Let's go ahead and keep the style of 4 in there. Let this generate it for us. And then if you go to this icon, so we're going to generate an icon from the same area. I want to go here and I want to choose Amazon. So see if Amazon has an icon. Oh, and they do. So that's great. We're just going to grab that icon, so that entire generated code there, and we're going to go back to our listing type, back to that block just for the Amazon row, edit the Amazon row, and we're just going to go right in here and right before the word Amazon. Remember, this is the label of the button. We're just going to drop that icon in there right before the label, and then hit spacebar once. Okay, and then we're going to do the same for Goodreads. Okay, so I dropped an icon in there and I put it spaced so the icon and the button label would be, there'd be a nice space between them. And I need to change the icon here. I already know there's a button for Goodreads. Okay, so I'm just going to type in because I know what it is. But you could go here, go to the buttons, type in good, and there it is. There's the Goodreads icon. Okay, so let me save my changes to the listing type, see how we're progressing here. Okay, there we go. We've got our icon. We've got, yeah, we're good to go there. What else? I want to style this a little bit more. So I'm going to go here, back to my CSS, and I'm going to drop this in. Now, what I'm dropping in here is to style specifically the style 4 of the MyListing buttons, as you see here, button-4. Now, if you don't want to style all of your button 4 stylings across your entire website, then you can use this same, the same CSS here to limit it just to this block right here. So if you just want to make sure you target only this block, that's how you can do that. I'm just going to leave this in here for now. You'll see I've got my border radius in there, and I say text decoration none because I want to remove this underline. Okay, so let's refresh. You should see the border radius change and that underline go away. Boom. Oh, didn't get the button to go, or the underline to go away. Let's do an important here just to make sure that it's overriding what's maybe coming from the theme. There we go. All right, so those are looking really good. Let me go back to my notes here and see if there's anything else I want to do on styling before I show you another good trick. So we did the icons, we messed with the button styles. And again, you can play with this all you want. Like if you keep going back here to the rows, you can play with these. So you can change style 4 to style 2 and so on and so forth, and just go back to the front end and quickly see how that's going to change. See how that looks? That actually looks pretty good too. So you can just figure out what works best, or again, apply your own CSS. Totally up to you. Okay, so the last thing here as far as these buttons is we want to open these in a new tab. So if we were just to click on these, if I click on Amazon here, we see that it takes us to Amazon, but it also makes us leave the website. We do not want that. Pro tip, anytime that you are going to do a link that goes to an external website off of your website, open it in a new tab 100% of the time. Okay, you don't want people leaving your site. Okay, so how do we do that? We take a bit of code, and in the guide, I link to this code. It's a really simple snippet that you add again to wherever it is that you manage your code snippets. Okay, so I've copied it, and I need to go back to that block. And I'm going to put instead of a class, I'm going to add a block ID, so a CSS ID. This can be whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call this new tab links. Okay, it's just for identification purposes. You just got to make sure that you reference it exactly in your code. So I'm going to update that. I'm going to go back to WP Codebox, and this time I need to create a new snippet, and it needs to be of type JavaScript. And I'm going to paste that whole code in there, save it, enable it. Let's go back to our listing. Again, you can get that code from the guide from the club. Okay, let's scroll down, click on Amazon, boom, just like that, new tab, Goodreads, new tab. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you can take advantage of it. Let me know how it goes. If you've got any other questions and thoughts, how I can improve it for you or other things I can look at, just let me know. I'm happy to take a look at it. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot.